There, Lori Lamont here, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about metaconsciousness, which is a cousin of German New Medicine, also known as um, Germanic healing knowledge. And now, regardless of what you're familiar with or what you've heard of, doesn't really matter. Let's just get into this whole new paradigm, this completely new way of looking at our health, our biology, and our illnesses. Okay. Now, this information had, first of all, it's been around for thousands and thousands of years. And my guess is that if you stick with me for a few minutes, you're going to feel it on a soul level of like, oh, yeah, this is right, which is very much how it hit me. And you'll, at same time, a lot of what I'm going to say might challenge some of what you know and have been aware of and things like that. So it's going to be a fun ride. Just stick with me, and I think it'll all make sense, or at least start to make sense as you start to unravel this new paradigm, this new way of looking at ourselves and our world. Because the truth is, guys, nature doesn't make any mistakes. It just doesn't. So now, Dr. Hammer was a doctor, a German doctor, and he certainly isn't the person who invented any of this information. However, he did become aware of it, what we had lost. It was information that has been around, like I said, for many, many thousands of years. And that's actually why he had originally named it Germanic healing knowledge, because the German people for thousands and thousands of years had this great deep gnosis, which I think pretty much every people on every continent had this information. We've just been slowly separating ourselves from it. And as we're now getting connected back to nature, the information is coming back to us. So thank you, Dr. Hammer, for bringing this information to us. Now, what happened was Dr. Hammer in the 70s had a tragic loss. His son was shot, and within a few months after surgeries and whatnot, his son died. And a few months after that, Dr. Hammer ended up with testicular cancer. And Dr. Hammer, being who he was also had a degree in philosophy. He had invented some surgical tools. He was a surgeon. He worked with cancer. He worked with a lot of things. He was like, this is curious. This can't be a coincidence, right? That I have testicular cancer just a few months after I lost my son. So he started studying, and he started doing studies on other men with testicular cancer. And he found that not most of the time, but 100% of the time, all of these men, and I mean thousands of men, not just like a few, okay, thousands of men, they had all had a significant loss, mainly children, not always, but they had all had a significant loss within a few months of the testicular cancer. So then he started doing brain scans. And guess what? He found that all of these men, not most, 100% of these men had a little ring formation in the same part of the brain. As every single one of them had the same ring in the same part of the brain, which got him thinking, why this part of the brain? So then he started doing this with same studies with women with ovarian cancer. And sure enough, all of the women had had a significant loss, and they all had the same ring and in the same spot in their brain. And then he started looking at different types of cancers. In the end, I think he ended up studying over 400,000 people, different ailments, and doing brain scans. And what he found was that there's this connection between having a shocking conflict and how our body adapts to solve the problem of that conflict. Now, there's 5 biological laws. We're going to go into that in a different video. But for today, I just want to kind of share with you the basics of what he learned. Now, this is his second biological law, which is the law of 2 phases. In this phase, so this is just our normal day-night rhythm. We go into sympathetic during the day, which is like a normal amount of stress. We get our stuff done, we're doing things, and then we go into parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, or feed and breed. And we kind of like, we're home, we're at night, we're slowing down, we're resting. And so that's just our normal day. And then some shocking conflict comes around. And in metaconsciousness, we would refer to that as an Uden. So an Uden stands for unexpected, dramatic, isolating, and no strategy. And so this could be, sure, it could be something terrible like you lose a child, or it could be somebody looks at you funny, or somebody tells you they don't like your shirt, or it could be something, it could just be something that catches you off guard, something that you were unexpectedly, it felt dramatic to you in that moment. You didn't have a strategy and you felt isolated just in that moment. What will happen is it will shoot your nervous system up into sympathetic, and you will remain in sympathetic until there's a resolution. So let's say I said to you, your style is ridiculous. I don't know. I don't like the way you dress, which I would never say that. But let's just say I said something like that to you. And that was really unexpected. And it got you up into the stress space. Okay. And let's say that went on for days. And so for days, I mean, you still can sleep, but you're going to be waking up probably a couple times throughout the night. You're going to be thinking about it. Do I have a weird sense of style? Was she right? Why would she say that to me? Right. And you're thinking about it, you're ruminating. And so your body is in this stress phase. Now, let's say the thing that I said to you was a morsel that you just couldn't swallow. Like it's a morsel conflict, something like, oh, I can't even swallow that. So what's going to happen is your throat doesn't know the difference between a piece of food that got stuck there and an idea that got stuck there that you can't swallow. And so what will happen is biologically, so the psyche takes in that shocking conflict. It goes to the part of the brain that is responsible for your esophagus to swallow the item. And then what will happen immediately is your throat will just start removing cells. It start having a cell reduction. And so what's happening is it's killing off cells so that it can widen opening so that hopefully you can swallow the thing so that you can survive. Now, while we're in this phase, you don't know that this is happening. You don't feel that loss necessarily happening in your throat. If you're just going about your day, you're maybe more stressed, you're thinking about the thing. And then let's say I see you a few days later and I say to you, I can't believe I said that to you. I totally was joking. Oh my gosh, I didn't mean that at all. No, that wasn't real. That was a joke. Ha ha ha. I would never say that. I love your style, right? So please forgive me. What's going to happen is it's going to send you down into a parasympathetic phase. So for however long we're up here in stress phase, your body now needs to go into the parasympathetic so that it can repair and restore the cells that it lost. Now, in this example of a morsel conflict, something you couldn't swallow, what's going to happen is now your body has to replace the cells that it got rid of, but it also has to get rid of the dead matter. And so we're going to bring in, that's where the bacteria comes in, the bacteria comes in, it's eating up maybe the dead cells. So what this is going to feel like is you're coming down with something. You got a scratchy throat. Maybe you're feeling tired. Maybe you're feeling worn out. And so this was 3 days. So this is going to be about 3 days as well. So somewhere in the middle here, you're going to end up with a fever, probably. Maybe you'll be hacking up all that phlegm. That's so that way all of the dead matter can come out. So this is what we would call a healing peak, which is when your body's kind of like squeezing out all the extra fluid, the dead material, whatnot. And then you come back down into this more restoration. I like to think of it as more like a normalization. If you've ever seen an animal play dead, and when they come out before they fully wake up, they have like kind of like a shaking, which is this also known as an epiloidal crisis. So they have the shaking where like their body's like expelling the energy, and then they just continue to lay there and they have these great big deep belly breaths. So they're normalizing their nervous system, and then they jump up and they run away. For us, it just, for an animal, it takes minutes, seconds. For us, it takes hours, days, weeks, years. But the point is, we're normalizing our nervous system here, and then we go back into our normal day-night rhythm. So Dr. Hammer had discovered that as well, which was fascinating. Now, actually, I want to go back to that. So when it doesn't really matter if we're having it could be like a really big conflict, or it could be something small. It's all going to be in relation into nature to whatever the issue was. So let's say you're dealing with a pimple Okay, that pimple, you had an attack conflict. You felt attacked, and then you're in stress phase while you're feeling attacked. And then when your body is restored, when you finally had the rest of resolution, then your body is starting to repair, and it's going to take all that material and package it up beautifully into a pimple. And that's what this will be. So a healing peak could be a pimple. It could be a wart. It could be a fever. It could be a heart attack. It could be something huge. It could be something small. It's really all in relation to the nature of the conflict and where it landed in the brain and how that, and then that would then impact the resolution. So as so that's the main thing that I kind of wanted to share with you today. There'll be more videos with more information, but this just kind of gives you a little snapshot of what is happening when we're having a health issue. Because really what's happening is your body is restoring, it's repairing, and it's healing. And it's not like, yay, we're healing. Yay, I have a fever. I feel terrible. No, it's not necessarily one is good or bad. It's just, it's what's happening. It's the biological adaptation of your conflict. And it's how your body is reacting and responding to the conflict. So it's not good or bad or anything. It's just is what your body's doing. And so we don't have to be afraid. And I encourage you to enter this whole new paradigm with an awareness and openness. Thank you for watching.